Hey, how's it going, Joshua?
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Awesome. I think it's your first time in my class.
Yep, it's my first day to join the Colingo.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. It's good
Yes.
to have you here.
Yep, thank you. Nice to
And
meet you too.
nice to meet you as well. Nice to meet you as well. Uh, where are you from, Joshua?
I'm from the Philippines, but
Philippines.
I'm staying in Australia at the
Uh,
moment.
Australia. Awesome. What part? Like Sydney?
Melbourne?
Oh, Melbourne. Okay.
Yes.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, yeah. Welcome to class, and we'll get to know
Yep,
each other. A little bit more, I'm sure.
thank you so much.
You're welcome. Hey, how's it going, Gabrielle? Good to see you again.
Hey, Farah. Good to see you too.
You have more time on your hands now, right? So you're back to Colingo.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice, nice. What time is it in Brazil now, man? Is it noon? Like 12
Yeah,
o'clock? Okay.
yeah.
So it's a 6 hour difference. Okay, right from
Wow.
where I am. Yeah. Interesting. Because yeah, when I was moving around, I lost track of time in terms of different time zones. So for example, some of my friends who lived on the East Coast of the United States, they were always, 3 hours ahead. We all know that, but I wasn't sure how different Brazil was
Yeah,
because we also had the start of daylight savings, so it was kind of
yeah,
weird.
in Brazil as well. So,
So it kind of adjusted itself. Okay.
yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Cool, cool. Awesome, guys. Welcome. We're just going to be waiting maybe just a few more minutes, but
Okay.
since you guys are here, just wanted to go ahead and introduce the class to you guys. So today, guys, we're going to be looking at it's an advanced level class, which is great because just by hearing you, Joshua, I think you know a lot of English, so that's really good.
Not
Um,
really.
Really? We'll see. We'll see. I think you'll be up to the task for our lesson at least. So today we'll be looking, guys, at the different kinds of quantifiers that we have in English. For example, especially with plurals, there are irregular plurals in English. As I'm sure you guys know, there are as many exceptions to rules in English as there are rules in English. So most of the time when we see a rule in English, there are always exceptions to whatever rule we say that there is, right? So that's one of the kind of overlying themes that we'll be looking at in this class. In addition, we will be taking a look at an article about science and technology, and I think to a degree it affects a lot of us because um, in I guess in today's society, we complain that we are worked and overworked a lot, and there's some merit behind that. I think people today are much busier than before. They can work from anywhere, they can be reached anywhere with their cell phones and things like that. So we'll be looking to see how one group, especially scientists, are complaining that they're being overworked and they're not getting the money for it. They're not getting compensated for it. So it'll be cool to see why that is. Uh, and hey, Salvador, how's it going?
Hi, Farhan, how are you?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you for asking.
Awesome, awesome. Joshua, actually, if you don't mind, would you mind just giving a brief introduction to the other people in the class about
Sure,
yourself?
sure. Um, Hi everyone, my name is Joshua. I'm from the Philippines. I'm currently living in Australia. I'm doing my bachelor's degree here, and nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you.
Fantastic, guys. Well, let's get started then. I think we're almost at the 10th minute, and we can begin. So, when we talk about the subject today, guys, once again, in terms of the grammar aspect of it, is plurals and quantifiers, right? That's a very kind of fancy way of saying how do we make multiple nouns, how do we make a noun multiple in English, right? And there are exceptions to that. Usually, when we are talking about plurals in English, right, it's very easy to, all we do is we add s or es to the end of the word, right? So For the word book, we make it books. For the word car, we make it cars. But there are exceptions to the rule, right? What is one exception to the rule that you guys can think of right now?
Children?
Yeah, children, right? So the word child becomes children, so we add ren. Yeah. What else?
People.
People, yeah. So the word person becomes people, right? No, completely different spelling, right? No S-E-S, nothing at the end.
Yeah.
What about one more? Let's think of one more.
Geese.
Yeah, right? And what's the singular form of geese?
Goose.
Goose, yeah. So we have this
Goose.
animal, the goose, right? We have one goose, or we have three geese, right? So it's an interesting change in the spelling, right? What about Joshua? What's the plural of a word like, let's say, mouse?
Mice.
Mice,
Mice,
yeah,
yeah.
right. Exactly. So it's not even, once again, you see a difference in spelling. Really, the only two letters they have in common are M and E, right? The first and last letters. Besides that, everything else is different. So we have some other examples like man becomes men, woman becomes women, right? Many other examples like that. Um, and then with some nouns, actually, guys. Let's see who joined. Oh, if it's my good friend Marcelo. Marcelo, professor, tudo beleza, professor?
Como vai, professor? Tudo beleza?
Good to see you again. Welcome to class.
Good to see you too. Thank you.
So, Marcelo, you arrived just in time for me to ask you a question, right?
Oh, so
Uh,
let me get out.
no.
I'm just kidding.
It's going to be a good question. It's going to be a good question.
Okay.
So, we have some examples of words in English, Marcelo, right? We have some examples of words in English, guys, that, for example, when we look at the irregulars, right? Even when they're irregular, they have a rule, right? So, Marcelo, what is the plural form of the word tooth? One tooth?
Teeth.
Yeah, teeth, right? So when we see,
It's a piece of cake.
yeah, this is a piece of cake. Exactly. So for some of these words, guys, we see the OO changing to an EE, right? That's what we see with this example, right? So OO becomes EE, right? Marcelo, there's some music in the background, man. Are you playing music?
Oh, sorry. I am in my work. I'm working right now, and I'm in the shop mall.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? So this
Yeah.
the sounds is from the shop mall.
That's interesting. It sounds really happy, maybe
Yeah,
like,
it's the sounds of Christmas. Christmas sounds.
oh,
Christmas sounds.
yeah, deck the halls with, I I can I recognize that tune because it's also we play it here in the United
Yeah,
States.
I'm gonna show you.
Oh, nice.
Shop mall here.
Oh, wow, this is great. This is the first time I'm looking at Brazil live. Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Marcelo. It's great. It's awesome. Uh, wow, Brazil is really beautiful, guys. Now I want to go. Okay, so when we look at this example, guys, I just wanted to talk about, so we have some of these examples, OO becomes EE, right? So tooth becomes teeth. Another example that we see when we are talking about these specific types of irregulars, right? We have the word, for example, what is the plural of foot? One foot, multiple
Feet.
feet, exactly. So the same OO to EE rule, right? And then we have what we heard from Gabrielle before was goose becomes geese, right? One goose, multiple geese. And then there's some other semi-crazy words, right? So once again, they just require more and more practice, right? What some of the words we have a spelling change from the letter F to the letter V, right? The letter F to the letter V. So what is the plural of life?
Life.
Yeah, well, life is one life, and multiple, you have to say lives, right? So we have this transformation.
Life.
Like,
Yeah.
for example, cats have 9 lives, right? When
Yep.
when people make that joke. So F turns into a V in that example, right? What about wife? One wife,
Wives.
Well, wives, exactly, right? So it's a similar kind of idea. And then there are some other examples of words that actually don't change at all in their spelling.
Man.
Yeah, man becomes men, right? Yeah,
Yes.
exactly, Marcelo. What's another irregular that you can think of, Marcelo?
I don't know.
That's fine. We went through a lot of them actually. We went through a lot of them, but yeah, we will see kind of a bunch more when we do this. The last example, guys, is words that actually don't change their spelling at all between the singular and the plural, right? So one deer, two deer, right? Deer, we don't say deers, right? So the word is consistently D-E-E-R, right? And then you also have, for example, one sheep, two sheep, right? Sheep and deer, they don't change their spelling. And then last but not least, what's another noun that you guys think doesn't change the form between singular and plural? No difference in spelling. Something that swims in the water. Maybe that helps.
Fish?
Yeah, exactly. Fish. Fish stays fish, right? We don't say three fishes. We say three fish, right? One fish, three fish, right? So that's looking at some of these rules, guys, right? Where when we see the differences between them, we want to be able to use the rules effectively. Any questions, guys, on this lesson so far?
No.
It all makes sense. Joshua, what about
Yep.
you? Any questions?
No.
Okay, great, fantastic.
There
Yeah,
is
Marcel.
another word. There is another word too. Mice and mouse.
Yeah, exactly. Mouse, one mouse, but then when we have more than one mouse, it becomes mice. Yeah,
And
exactly.
the leaf and leaves.
Leaf and leaves, exactly, right? So you have one leaf, exactly, but a tree has, you know, a lot of leaves, right? Fantastic. This is just like what we saw with the life to lives. It's similar. The F becomes V, but there's also a change in spelling,
And the
right?
roof and the roofs.
Yeah, absolutely. So one wolf, but you have maybe 100 wolves, right?
Yeah.
Wolf to wolves, yeah. Fantastic, guys. So I wanted to take a second, guys, and I wanted to ask all of you about something that is now will relate to our article, right? So we're going to jump into our article in a little bit, but the question I have for you guys is, do you think people are less efficient if they work long hours, right? Do you think people are less efficient when they work long hours, right? What do you guys think about that? You know, if you're overworked, if you have a lot going on, are you less efficient? Let's start with Salvador on the right.
Okay, I think that people could be affect the performance because they are tired and everybody needs some time to rest or just to charge the battery, as we say.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that could happen if someone is working for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, his performance or her performance um, will decrease because he or she is tired.
Yeah, absolutely. Performance will decrease, and is it because of is it because they're tired? Is it because maybe they're not taking care of themselves? Maybe they're not eating well.
That's right.
There could be many other reasons too, right? That's awesome. That's awesome, Salvador. Thanks. What about Marcelo? What do you think? Are people less efficient when they are working really long hours?
Yeah, of course. I believe that we get it less efficient because we are start to get it stressful, you know,
Yeah.
and tired, overwhelmed with a lot of tasks. So I think you have to take a a break to 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 restart the work again.
Yeah, absolutely, right. People need to take a break. They need to, like we heard from Salvador, they need to recharge their batteries, right? We use
Yeah.
this phrase a lot in English, recharge their batteries, right? Or someone needs to recharge his batteries, right? Fantastic, fantastic. Joshua, what do you think? I believe you're a student. I know students have to work long hours. Are you in general, or are more people that you know less efficient when they don't have the sleep, or when they're tired?
Yes. Um. Yeah. Of course, they less efficient in regards with because most of the time when they working longer hours, the minds is very tired of thinking about what they're doing, and
Mm-hmm.
they cannot focus. They cannot focus on the project that they are doing. So yeah, sometimes they um, made more mistake rather than working in a normal hour. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's very true. And what are some specific challenges that you think maybe students face, Joshua? Because you know you're a student yourself. What are some specific challenges that you face? Maybe with your schedule or maybe with other things.
Oh, I have lots of challenges. First of all, my first challenge here is, my English language because I'm not fluent on how to speak English well. So sometimes it's a bit difficult for me to understand some of the accents because there are lots of accents here that sometimes they speak too fast, sometimes they speak a bit slow, and sometimes they have different style of saying their lingo. Second thing is probably the schedule. Sometimes you want to go with your friends, but you have lots of assignments to do or projects.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can,
that's pretty much.
especially with Australia, Joshua, man, I can't understand them sometimes,
Mm,
because
yeah, they have what they call Aussie slang.
yeah,
Yeah,
the accent is very different. I mean, usually I think people can understand most people in Australia, but there are some people in Australia that just the way they talk, I don't know. People from New Zealand also they have a
yeah,
different they have they have a different accent.
yeah, that's
So
true.
I don't know. I feel like maybe they can't understand me either, because they were so different.
Of course, they will probably understand you.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I've met some people that their English was so different. I met somebody from Nigeria who could
Yes.
not understand my English. He said he said that he was surprised because I was the first person he had met who spoke like me, so it was the first time that he heard my accent, so it was difficult for him. But
Uh,
I don't know, guys, it's so many different accents. And I think Australia is I would love to visit
yeah,
just to talk to people because they have so many different ones down there.
yeah.
Uh, Fantastic. And also, with you, Gabrielle, I believe you're a student as well. So, what are some challenges, man? Do you feel that if you're tired, if you're overworked, that you're less efficient?
Yeah, definitely. Like when I'm studying, I try to do like 15 minutes of study and then I take a rest, like I take a shower, eat something, take some eat something. And because, if I study for too many hours, it's the result is much less efficient because,
Hmm.
it's like I'm not really paying attention. So I think, like everybody said, you should recharge your batteries once in a while.
Fantastic, fantastic. And just to be curious, because I'm curious, how many hours of sleep do you guys get? Gabrielle and Joshua, because you guys are students, how many hours of sleep do you guys get on average every night?
On, when I'm at normal days of the week, I usually get 6 or 7.
6 or 7. That's still pretty good. That's still pretty good. Joshua, what about you? Is it more like 4 or 5, or do you get sleep?
Oh, I tried to sleep 2 hours a day because I'm doing my thesis.
Oh,
And
wow.
so
Oh,
yeah, I just lucky I finished my thesis. So after that, I sleep the whole week.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah,
It's a very
yeah,
well deserved kind of rest, right?
yeah.
Awesome. And Ken, welcome to class. How's it going?
Yes, I'm fine. How are
Sorry.
you?
Good, good. I don't know why I'm
Oh,
coughing all of a sudden. Excuse me for that. So Ken, we're talking about the similar idea of efficiency when people are tired and when people are overworked. We're going to look at scientists in just a few minutes, but do you think people are less efficient when they are working a lot and when they're working overtime?
oh yes, I think so because naturally our body and our mind, you know, become tired and it's very difficult to concentrate on in such a condition.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it's kind of universal, right? I think what we will see with these scientists is their kind of struggle is not unique to just them, and that to a certain degree, this is the first time that the scientific community is saying, "Wow, it's really tough to be a scientist because of all the work that we have to do, and all of and the lack of thanks that they get." Sometimes we say professions are thankless, right? Many young people, they spend their time in professions, in thankless professions, professions without thanks, right? Nobody says thank
Mhm.
you. Nobody appreciates the work that you do, right? And if you're also getting overworked, and if you're not getting appreciated, that's kind of a double disaster, right? I mean, you're just always working, and not seeing any real benefit from all that work, unfortunately. So let's take a look, guys, and we have a few new people. So I know Joshua. Um, this is one of the articles that we're going to be looking at right now. We're going to switch to the article. So if you have your Colingo chat window open, I will post the link, and you can click the link, and we can read the article together. I'm going to read it. You guys follow along. Every two paragraphs or so, or anytime I see a word that's a little bit more advanced, I want to stop and ask you guys what that is, right? If you guys have any questions, don't hesitate. Just stop me anytime you want, right? Don't worry that he's reading or he's talking for an hour like he always does. Just stop me, okay? So don't hesitate to do that. So here's a link, guys. And interestingly, it's actually an Australian article, Joshua. So you might like it. Uh, and, and we'll be looking at these scientists, maybe not just in Australia, but in other places as well. So
Yep.
let's take a look, guys. So let's see where my thing is. Okay. All right. So you guys should be able to see the screen in just a few seconds. Okay, fantastic. So when we talk about what's going on right now, right? It's saying that the survey. Oh crap! Back to myself. Let's see where I messed up. Okay. Now this desktop starts sharing. Okay. So we see here that the survey shows scientists are working overtime, right? That kind of is the main idea here. Uh, Scientists around the world are working overtime, right? Often through the night or on weekends, a new survey has found, right? Scientists may feel engaged and satisfied with their research work, right? The research team from the Dalian University of Technology in China. However, working too much is still a serious and heavy issue, which warns us to reconsider the work-life balance. This word right here, or this phrase right here, guys, work-life balance, is actually a very, very good phrase. We use it a lot in English when we're talking about people that are working too much. What do you guys think it means, the phrase work-life balance?
The
Work
the
life.
balance of working hour and private hour.
Yeah, the balance of the working hours and just your non-working hours or your private hours in your life, right? So most people like to have maybe 8 hours of work, 8 hours of sleep, and 8 hours to do whatever they want, right? That's how they divide the day's hours, right? But many times work-life balance doesn't actually work out that well. So in English we can say I have a great work-life balance, right? Great work-life balance. I can say I have a poor work-life balance, right? These are ways that we can describe work-life balance using adjectives, right? So let's see here. What else is going on? Dr. Xianwen Wang and colleagues report their findings in a recent issue of the Journal of Informatics. Wang and colleagues drew up a global snapshot of scientists' working habits by using an analytics platform that visualizes the number of downloads of publications from the scientific publisher Springer Verlag, right? So what did they actually do, guys? They used an analytics platform, right, that visualizes the number of downloads of publications. What are they saying by that? What are some of these? This area right here is a little advanced, but I wanted to ask you guys to see maybe if you guys can help me figure it out. What is an analytics platform, first of all? When somebody says an analytics platform, what does that mean? Or even before we do that, guys, what is a snapshot?
It's like
Brief sleep.
A
Yeah.
snapshot is not a brief sleep, actually, Marcelo. It's actually more to do. It doesn't have anything to do with sleep. I think a brief
Photos.
sleep. Yeah, a brief sleep is a nap, actually, Marcelo, right? I'm sorry, Joshua. What did you say? I couldn't hear you.
It's more on photographs, like for example, you snapshot like a bits of pieces of photos. You know what I
Yes.
mean? It's
Yes,
like
yes, yes.
bits of pieces of information.
Absolutely, absolutely. A snapshot is, think of a snapshot as a shot, like a photo shot, a 1 second shot of something that's going on, right? So maybe if you take a snapshot of dinner, everybody's eating in that snapshot, right? A snapshot is when you take out your camera and for just 1 second you take one photo. That's a snapshot, right, of something that is happening. So when they say here it's a global snapshot of scientists' working habitats, what do you think? What do you think they're referring to?
Their environment. They talking
Yeah,
about the lifestyle in their environment.
exactly. So, and that's what the word habitat means, right? Habitat we use a lot in English when we are talking about animals, actually. So, for example, the bear's habitat is the forest, right? But here they're saying scientists' working habitats because they wanted to take a global snapshot, right? They wanted to check they wanted, with their research, they wanted to say, at this moment, all of the scientists in the world, or many of the scientists in the world from different countries, this is how they work at this moment in time, right? Maybe at midnight or maybe at 3 o'clock or whatever. So they use this analytics platform, right? A platform in this case, guys, it's another word for software, right? So if you say, for example, a Windows platform, a Macintosh platform, just another word for software. So they use an analytics platform, something that analyzes data, right? A lot of numbers and things like that. And they use this software to visualize, okay? To see. To visualize means to see, right? How many downloads were downloaded, I guess, or how many publications were downloaded from one of these journals called Springer Verlag, right? So scientists, when they need information, they go to these databases, huge databases, right? And sometimes they're looking for research papers from other scientists. They're looking at evidence for their research, and they download a lot of these documents from these databases, like Springer Verlag. So this group of Dr. Wang and her colleagues, they used software to analyze how many of these downloads were taking place all around the world, right? If there are a lot of downloads happening, that would mean that there are a lot of scientists working, right? Because they're researching things, they are downloading those publications and things like that, right? So any questions on that, guys? Overall, what they were working on?
no.
Maybe I missed a word. Maybe I missed a couple of words that you guys had questions on. No confusing words? Going once, going twice. Okay, I guess not. Okay, so I'm gonna go down to the bottom, guys, a little bit more. I'm gonna just see what's happening here. So they're looking at these downloads, right? So they collected information on the number of publication downloads by scientists from 30 countries throughout the day over 4 weekdays and 4 weekends in April 2012. The more downloads that were occurring, the more research was being done, right? So this is the central argument that they have, right? The more downloads that were occurring, the more research was being done. During the 8-day period, the highest number of downloads was from the United States, 392,985, followed by Germany, China, UK, Canada, Australia was at 38,000, Japan, India, Iran, and France, right? So the picture Wang and colleagues got when they plotted the downloads throughout the day was revealing, right? What does it mean if you say, guys, that you plot something? What does it mean to plot something?
A story or guess?
Yeah,
Thought?
that's another kind of plot, guys. That's another kind of plot, but you guys are doing a great job. So the plot of a story is, for example, the main idea of a story, right? When you plot something on a graph, it actually has a little bit different meaning. What do you guys think?
Show?
Yeah, to a certain degree, to a certain degree. What about Gabrielle and Joshua? What do you guys think? You guys are still students. Maybe you guys plot data.
Yes.
Yeah, right. What does it mean to plot data?
To plot the data means you are tallying the highest and the lowest values of, for example, you doing a survey or you doing a trying to differentiate the number of figures.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's perfect. That's perfect. When you plot data, you can take information, you take raw numbers, and you put them on a graph. That's
Yes.
that's all you're doing, right? It could be the highest numbers, it could be the lowest numbers, right? So it's a way of saying that they made a graph, right? They made a visual representation of the information, right? So when they plotted the downloads throughout the day, what they saw was actually very surprising, right? It was very revealing. This is what they learned. Despite the different working habits in different countries, right? A quite common conclusion in most countries is that scientists all over the world today are researchers, right? Scientists all over the world today are researchers. So, yeah, Marcelo, plotted actually isn't planned. All it means is that you are taking information from numbers and putting them on a graph. So, for example, let me actually show you guys if there's any way for me to visually demonstrate this. Google Images. One sec, guys. I want to show you guys what a plotting looks like. It's going to be a little bit helpful. Let's see. No, I can't type. So this, guys, is what I mean by plotting something, right? So, for example, you have information, and you are just putting this information on a graph, right? So, for example, you have an experiment, and you find out that. Let me see. Can you guys see the screen? Yeah, you guys can see the screen, I think, right? So, for example, at 2 seconds, the velocity of this object was 10 meters per second. At 4 seconds, it was 20 meters per second. At 6 seconds, it was 30. Just plotting this data so that it makes a visual graph. That's the only thing that they mean, right? So researchers use a lot of this kind of stuff when they're making graphs, and scientists use a lot of this kind of stuff. So this is this is a plot of a graph, right? So they found out that there are scientists all over the world are doing research, right? In the United States and France, overnight work is more prevalent among scientists, while in mainland China, scientists usually work almost as hard on the weekends as on the weekdays, right? This is really revealing, guys, right? This is actually really revealing. So in the United States and France, people work overnight much more. But in China, people are working all the time, right? Chinese scientists usually work almost as hard on the weekends as they do on the weekdays, right? Why do you guys think this is the case, for a country like China? Any ideas, guys? I mean, what's going on in China? Why do you think there are so many people that are working so hard? No ideas, Joshua or Ken or Salvador? Any of you guys?
harsh
Um,
competition to survive, to keep their job.
Yeah,
Something
possibly
like this.
competition. Yeah, China has a lot of people, right? So you got to be able to stand out. You have to be able to stand out and show people that that you mean business, right? Um, Salvador, why do you think there are so many things in China, or so many hardworking scientists in China that are working as hard on the weekends as on the weekdays?
Well, I don't have any idea.
Uh-huh. Possibly, maybe because yeah, they might be busy, right? So like we heard from Ken. Um, Joshua, do you know of any Chinese students maybe in Australia, or if their if their if their kind of attitude is a lot more hardworking when it comes to this kind of stuff?
yes, some of them.
Really, that's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, we see that a lot in the United States too, guys. Some of the Chinese students that we see, they work extremely hard. Students from Singapore also have the same. They have the same kind of people know about them because of that.
And there is uh, also they have also a kind of labor chip too in Chinese, and they spend a lot of time working with the labor chip.
Uh-huh. Cheap labor, yeah, cheap
Yeah,
labor.
cheap labor. Yeah.
Exactly, right. So a lot of Chinese folks, even in their own countries, right? In their own countries, they're working on a lot of cheap labor kind of jobs. But scientists also, I think, really the problem with science is that you have to make a name for yourself, right? There are a lot of people researching, but if you want to be the very best, you have to publish a lot of articles. You have to get a lot of support from the community, right? So I think that might be the reason why we have all these Chinese folks that are working, right? And also, guys, so looking at China, moving on to the other countries, right? It says the Australian curve and the New Zealand curve, right? So the New Zealand plot and the Australian plot, they show a similar trend on both weekdays and weekends, right? So same situation in Australia and New Zealand. People work hard on the weekends, almost as much as they do on the weekdays, right? Um, and then by contrast, guys, they said that the researchers that found that the Japanese scientists always appeared to enjoy their weekends. So, Ken, what's going on in Japan?
Yes, actually, in Japanese university, if the professor got a permanent position, it will be, that means they can work until retirement.
Mm-hmm.
That system is changing now. Newly hired researchers, it's very difficult to get that position, but usually, professor in the university, even though they didn't write any thesis, they can keep their job.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? That we have so many folks that are, I guess they were before they were complacent, right? If I get a permanent position, I don't have to work that much. But now things are changing, so maybe it's going to be a little bit harder for these folks, right?
Mm.
Yeah, makes sense. And we just had someone new join. How's it going, Michael? Or is it Mikel or Michael? Hey, how's it going? I think your mic may not be working right now, Michael, because we can't hear you. If you can maybe refresh that window, Michael, maybe it'll work. Okay, guys, so that's all I wanted to see about this article, right? We have seen a little bit of research behind what is happening in many parts of the world, right? And they plotted this information and they found out that scientists are overworking in some areas. Scientists are not enjoying their time off, right? So let me ask you guys, let me go back to some of the questions that I asked. And the first one that I have for you guys is too much work a bad thing, right? How do we draw that balance? How do you draw that balance? When do you know that you're working too hard and that you should relax, right? Or do you not do that? Do you just work all the time and sleep when you can, right? So how do we know that we are working too much? Salvador, how do you judge that?
Maybe I am feeling tired or in bad mood all the time. Sometimes
Hmm.
that's gonna happen because you're feeling tired, so you don't wanna do anything, or maybe you feel like a lack of energy to do
Hmm.
something, and for me that is a sign that I'm working too much.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And then how do you de-stress? Do you take a nap? Do you go to sleep? Do you listen to music?
Uh, well, sometimes I take a nap, or I'm going to the internet trying to find relaxing things, or just play video games, or mountain biking, something like that.
Wow, mountain biking. That's awesome.
Ah, yes, that is
Do,
my favorite sport.
do you guys go out into, are there hills nearby your house where you can just, if you feel like you want to go mountain biking, you can just take your bike and go?
Yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Here, the other day I went mountain biking for the first time maybe in a year, and I was so tired by the time I got to the top of the mountain. I just felt I just felt like I was gonna die because if you don't do it regularly, I think it's kind of difficult. Um,
Yes, that is a good way to relax. Let me share some pictures.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic! Are these from your city?
And yes, from different part of my region, so not really my city, because there's 3 or 4 cities near,
Uh-huh.
and all they have this kind of mountains.
Wow, this is beautiful actually. There's a lot happening here, right?
Yes, yes, yeah,
You
and
have
it's
a
very relaxing.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. That is awesome. That's awesome. It seems very relaxing. And is that a picture of you, the second one? You're looking at your city?
Ah, yes, that city is San Pedro Sula.
Nice, nice. That's awesome. That's really great. Um, okay, thanks for sharing, Salvador. It's always nice when you share things like that.
Thank you.
Uh, yeah. And Michael or Mikkel, I'm not sure if you can hear us now. Could you try speaking after you unmute yourself? Okay, not sure, guys. Something might be happening with your mic, Michael. Uh, Marcelo, how do you know that you're working too hard and that you have to relax?
Yeah, I when I feel myself stressful, I I realize that I have to take take a time, and then I try to walk and I go to the gym. It makes me willing to get up in the morning and
Mm-hmm.
face a hard reality, because we know that work is not a bed of roses, but we have to work, if you want to achieve your goals. It's part of our life.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, working is just a part of our lives. It's a necessary evil, right? We have to work, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
and I mean, what's your strategy, Marcelo, when you are feeling like you can't go on and you have to rest? I mean, how do you jump into life when you are working so hard? How do you stop the work and relax? What's your strategy?
I usually
Besides,
go. I
uh-huh,
usually hand out. I like
usually
to
hang
hand
out.
out
Mm-hmm.
to you know to come to drop by some friend's house to drink something, to talk a lot of things, and or to watch a movie, and
Mm-hmm.
something like that.
That's awesome. And you said also, I think you said that you like to go to the gym, which is great. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
the gym makes you can take out all of your anger and frustration on the weights and not on somebody, right? I have friends who they lift a lot of weights, and as they're lifting the weights, they're swearing at their professors, they're swearing at their jobs, So they imagine like their job or their work is their enemy, you know. when they are in the gym. So it's really funny. It's really funny when I see
Cool,
that.
cool, cool.
Yeah, yeah, that's an awesome thing to do. So Joshua, what about you? How do you know that you're working too hard and that you should stop?
Um, well, maybe if I feel uncomfortable and um, my brain is not working, and it's like brain drain, too,
Brain
too
drain,
much.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just like too too much thinking. So
It happens a lot. It happens a lot, especially with students, I think. Especially, I think when you guys are writing. You said you're writing a thesis, right?
yeah,
Have you ever experienced something, Joshua, called writer's block?
yeah. Sometimes when I try to type the my thesis and then uh, came up that because I'm very tired, I cannot think of anything that I need to include in my paper, even
Mm-hmm.
though there's a lot of you know lots of books that it's already in my table, but still I cannot think of anything.
Yeah, I've had
And
that, man. I've had that happen to me.
yeah, so
What's your thesis
that
about, if you don't mind me asking, Joshua?
what my thesis is all about. I did the um, study for the it's just like how to say that, a video tutorial for a student at RMIT. Um, is where they will learn more for these video tutorials, like um, what is it? How to say that? It's instructional video tutorial.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's interesting.
yeah, I made the research that it will be more beneficial for students because they can access it easily, and also they can play it repeatedly. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
And
kind of thing.
there are
Yeah,
definitely advantages to video that we don't get with other
yeah,
sorts of
but
things. Yeah.
yeah, but I work on a specific video tutorial which is more on electronics thing, which is which we call P-Spice video tutorial. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for
Mm-hmm.
electrical and electronics.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. It sounds like really interesting stuff. But yeah, I when I did my main research papers, they were mostly science papers, so a lot of research, a lot of scientific research. But I also had to write history papers. So I
Yeah.
think, how long is your thesis going to be? Do you know how many pages?
Oh, the first one I had 30 pages, then the next is 60 pages.
Yeah, that sounds about right. My longest research paper was I think 75 or 76 pages.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mine is just the 60, the second one.
Uh-huh. It's fine though. It's fine. With all the sources you have at the end, it'll probably reach the 75 page limit, when you write your bibliography, right? It's
Yeah, but still, even though you have lots of information, still hard to put it in, because you just need the exact information, not you put everything which is not really important. Okay.
absolutely. Absolutely. Sometimes you have these crazy things happen or you can't do anything about it, unfortunately, when it comes to
Yeah,
assignments that are given to us.
yeah, that's
Uh,
right.
And Ken, what do you think, man? What happens how do you know that it's time to recharge your batteries? What's the signal for you? And then how do you do that? How do you recharge your batteries?
Mm, maybe kind of cannot concentrate. I cannot concentrate when I am exhausted,
Hmm.
and even though I'm reading a book, I cannot I cannot understand the book.
Oh
Just
wow, so that's a sign.
yeah, I read the book, but my brain isn't working. Maybe
Uh-huh.
that's a sign of much fatigue.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, when it comes to scientists, guys, do you guys think scientists should be paid differently for their work if they're working so much, or should they have the same amount of pay that they get now? Which really, in many cases, until they get a permanent position in the United States at least, scientists make some money, but they don't make a lot of money, right? So should they be paid differently, do you guys think, or is that not a good idea? Ken, we can start with you if you don't mind.
Okay,
Yeah.
as an individual, maybe not so much competition is good, to keep well balanced work life balance. But as a researcher, maybe competition somewhat necessary evil.
It's necessary evil, yeah. I think the competition is going to always
So,
be there between scientists.
but maybe many scientists, vict, devote all of their lifetime for the research.
Mm-hmm.
In a private point of view, it's somewhat hard,
Mm-hmm.
but the problem is that person feels satisfaction. I think that's a good life.
Yeah,
It's up to the it's up to the person.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Individually, maybe a scientist who loves to do research and really that's what he loves, or that's what he or she loves. So if they can do that, then they can do whatever they want, I mean, they can continue working as much as they want, right? Makes sense.
Workaholic.
Workaholics.
Workaholic.
Yeah, yeah, Marcelo, wexactly. We use this word workaholic, right? It's an alcoholic, but for work, right? So workaholic. We use that a lot. And let's see, Joshua, do you think they should be paid differently, or do you think the way they make money now is good?
Um, in my experience, I think they should pay differently. They should pay a bit more. I think the necessary payment for them
Mm-hmm.
because lots of new technologies um, improve right now because of them.
Mm-hmm.
As you can see, um, lots of um, yeah, how to say that I've lost.
Electronics or science and technology, maybe.
Yeah,
Scientists who work with technology, right?
yeah. Um, they're working too hard, so I think it's just appropriate for them to
For them to get a little bit more
yeah
money.
to get yeah.
I think that's fair. I think that sounds fair. Maybe
Mm,
some places can review that kind of information or can review these how much they're getting paid and actually pay them a little bit more. It doesn't hurt. I mean, they work long hours, right? They work on the weekends. I mean, come
yeah.
on, they should get some money, right? Um, and Marcelo, what do you think?
Could you make the question again, please?
Yeah, yeah, sure. I was just saying, do you think scientists should be making more money than they are now, or is it okay the money they're making right now?
Scientist.
Yeah. These people that are researching all the time, right? I feel maybe they're not making a lot of money. Maybe they
I don't have an idea what the money, the quantify, they earn.
uh-huh.
I don't know. I don't have the idea of the salary of scientists. I think depends on of the scientist.
Yeah,
You
I think it
know.
does.
But
But
I
for
think, yeah, I think if you have to work at weekend, for instance, devote a lot of time, maybe because in some way you have to stay far. I don't know if I am trying if I am wearing we using the right word, but if you stay so far from your family, you know what I mean? It
hmm
can, in a certain way, it can disturb. You can disturb your relationship inside of your house too. It can
yeah.
be harmful for your family too. You
hmm
know, the
hmm
personal relationship inside of your home with your family could be
hmm
harmful. So
I
you have to
agree.
be careful to avoid, uh, for instance, to bring problems with your work, problems of work, to into your house. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. There's that fine balance, the work-life balance. Sometimes the border between the work and the life gets affected by things like that. People bring their work into their life, and it affects all their relationships. Absolutely, absolutely,
Yeah,
Marcelo.
yeah.
That's very good. Very good to know. Um, and Salvador, last but not least, man, do you think they should be paid more, paid less? What's the idea here?
Well, I don't know. Maybe scientists they are not working for money just because they want to be famous or something like that. But as Marcelo say, I don't know how much
How
money
much money they make? Yeah.
they're earning right now. So
Hmm.
I don't know if they have to gain more or less.
Yeah.
But maybe I want think they are working so hard because they want to make some discovery also new medicines and all the kind of stuff that they are doing right now, and
Sure.
because they like their jobs.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Which I think is fair, We don't really know how much they make maybe in other countries, but in the US they don't make a lot. For the amount of work that they do, they don't make a lot of money. They make a good salary. But I guess they should be, if they can be compensated, if it's really seen that they are working a lot, then maybe they should be.
Who makes
So
a lot of their own money on this in the United States?
doctors make the most.
Doctors.
Yeah, doctors make the most. I mean, if you're a surgeon, for example, if you're a heart surgeon or if you're a brain surgeon, uh,
Teacher,
yeah.
English teacher, you earn a lot of money.
Nah, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. Teachers don't make a lot. Teachers don't make a lot, unfortunately.
For English teachers.
Across the board,
Is
they
that
don't make a lot of money.
is that a
Yeah.
humble trying to be humble?
No, no, no. I'm not trying to help. Well, I'm being realistic. I think for me, at my age right now, it's fine. I mean, what I make is fine, right? If I was older and I had more, maybe if I had more wishes, things to get, and if I wanted to buy a lot and live in a house and all that kind of thing, it would be difficult. Absolutely. For me right now, it works, but um, definitely not something that somebody who has a lot of desire could do, right? Um, but yeah, in the U.S. we have the doctors are making millions of dollars a year. The average heart surgeon, for example, cardiovascular surgeon makes around $2 million a year. I know one of my dad's friends. He makes $75,000 a month.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's like he's a millionaire, and in one year he makes more than $1 million. So it
Cool, cool,
happens.
cool.
Yeah, a lot of rich people here.
Are you
Um,
are you still are you still living in California?
yeah, I'm still in California.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I'll leave actually. I think I'll just stay here.
Okay, just
Uh,
stay. Are you
yeah,
are you staying?
I
Okay.
think that's my plan. Yeah, I'll just stay here. And this is also the most expensive state. So I need to I will lose more and more of my savings from my Colingo teaching and my other jobs. So
I will believe in you. Okay.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, awesome guys. Did you guys have any questions about our class today, the article or the grammar that we looked at? We looked at, remember guys, irregular forms of plurals. So, goose becomes geese, mouse becomes mice, all those kinds of examples. Any questions from anybody about any of that stuff?
No question, teacher. I really appreciate your class.
Thank you so
Thank you
much,
very
Marcelo.
much.
I appreciate you as well. Thank you so much. And
Thank you for teaching us.
absolutely, Joshua, it was a pleasure. I hope you liked it. I have
Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
I have
I
another class
enjoy
in
it.
1 hour. I have another class in one more hour, so you guys can come back and
Ever-
join me again. Yeah.
Yeah, it's time for me to sleep. It's 2 a.m. in the morning.
Oh, absolutely. Go to sleep. Go to sleep.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Good night, guys.
Take care, guys. Everybody.
Good
Bye
night.
bye.
Good
See you
night.
guys
Thank you very
later.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye bye. Person becomes people, right? No, completely different spelling, right? No S-E-S, nothing at the end.
Yeah.
What about one more? Let's think of one more.
Geese.
Yeah, right. And what's the singular form of geese?
Goose.
Goose, yeah. So we have this
Goose.
animal, the goose, right? We have one goose or we have three geese, right? So it's an interesting change in the spelling, right? What about Joshua? What's the plural of a word like, let's say, mouse?
Mice.
Mice,
Mice,
yeah,
yeah.
right. Exactly. So it's not even, once again, you see a difference in spelling. Really, the only two letters they have in common are M and E, right? The first and last letters. Besides that, everything else is different. So we have some other examples like man becomes men, woman becomes women, right? Many other examples like that. Um, and then with some nouns actually, guys. Let's see who joined. Oh, if it's my good friend Marcelo. Marcelo, professor, tudo beleza, professor?
Como vai, professor? Tudo beleza?
Good to see you again. Welcome to class.
Good to see you too. Thank you.
So, Marcelo, you arrived just in time for me to ask you a question, right?
Oh, so
Uh,
let me get off.
no.
I'm just kidding.
It's going to be a good question. It's going to be a good question.
Okay.
So, we have some examples of words in English, Marcelo, right? We have some examples of words in English, guys, that, for example, when we look at the irregulars, right? Even when they're irregular, they have a rule, right? So, Marcelo, what is the plural form of the word tooth? One tooth?
Teeth.
Yeah, teeth, right? So when we see,
It's a piece of cake.
yeah, this is a piece of cake. Exactly, exactly. So for some of these words, guys, we see the OO changing to an EE, right? That's what we see with this example, right? So OO becomes EE, right? Marcelo, there's some music in the background, man. Are you playing music?
Oh, sorry. I am in my work. I'm working right now, and I'm in the shop mall.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
this
yeah.
the sounds is from the shop mall.
That's interesting. It sounds really happy, maybe
Yeah,
like,
it's the sounds of Christmas. Christmas sounds.
oh,
Christmas sounds.
yeah, deck the halls with. I can I recognize that tune because it's also we play it here in the United
Yeah,
States.
I'm gonna show you.
Oh, nice.
Shop mall here.
Oh, wow. This is great. This is the first time I'm looking at Brazil
Yeah.
live. Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Marcelo. It's great. It's awesome. Uh, wow. Brazil is really beautiful, guys. Now I want to go. Okay. So when we look at this example, guys, I just wanted to talk about, so we have some of these examples, OO becomes EE, right? So tooth becomes teeth. Another example that we see when we are talking about these specific types of irregulars, right? We have the word, for example, what is the plural of foot? One foot, multiple
Pit.
feet, exactly. So the same OO to EE rule, right? And then we have what we heard from Gabrielle before, was goose becomes geese. Hey, how's it going, Joshua?
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Awesome. I think it's your first time in my class.
Yep, it's my first day to join the Colingo.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic.
Yes.
It's good to have you here.
Yep, thank you. Nice to
And
meet you too.
nice to meet you as well. Nice to meet you as well. Uh, where are you from, Joshua?
I'm from the Philippines, but
Philippines.
I'm staying in Australia at the
Uh,
moment.
Australia. Awesome. What part? Like Sydney?
Melbourne?
Oh, Melbourne. Okay.
Yes.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, yeah. Welcome to class, and we'll get to know
Yeah,
each other. A little bit more, I'm sure.
thank you so much.
You're welcome. Hey, how's it going, Gabrielle? Good to see you again.
Hey, hey, Farah. Good to see you too.
You have more time on your hands now, right? So you're back to Colingo.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice, nice. What time is it in Brazil now, man? Is it noon? Like 12
Yeah,
o'clock? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a 6-hour difference. Okay, from
Wow.
where I am. Yeah. Interesting. Because yeah, when I was moving around, I lost track of time in terms of different time zones. So for example, some of my friends who lived on the East Coast of the United States, they were always, 3 hours ahead. We all know that, but I wasn't sure how different Brazil was
Yeah.
because we also had the start of daylight savings, so it was kind of
Yeah,
weird.
in Brazil as well. So,
So it kind of adjusted itself. Okay.
yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Cool, cool. Awesome, guys. Welcome. We're just going to be waiting maybe just a few more minutes, but
Okay.
since you guys are here, just wanted to go ahead and introduce the class to you guys. So today, guys, we're going to be looking at it's an advanced level class, which is great because just by hearing you, Joshua, I think you know a lot of English, so that's really good.
Not
Um,
really.
Really? We'll see. We'll see. I think you'll be up to the task for our lesson at least. So today we'll be looking, guys, at the different kinds of quantifiers that we have in English. For example, especially with plurals, there are irregular plurals in English. As I'm sure you guys know, there are as many exceptions to rules in English as there are rules in English. So most of the time when we see a rule in English, there are always exceptions to whatever rule we say that there is, right? So that's one of the kind of overlying themes that we'll be looking at in this class. In addition, we will be taking a look at an article about science and technology, and I think to a degree it affects a lot of us because in I guess in today's society we complain that we are worked and overworked a lot, and there's some merit behind that. I think people today are much busier than before. They can work from anywhere, they can be reached anywhere with their cell phones and things like that. So we'll be looking to see how one group, especially scientists, are complaining that they're being overworked and they're not getting the money for it. They're not getting compensated for it. So it'll be cool to see why that is. Uh, and hey, Salvador, how's it going?
Hi, Farhan, how are you?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking.
Awesome, awesome. Joshua, actually, if you don't mind, would you mind just giving a brief introduction to the other people in the class about
Sure,
yourself?
sure. Um, Hi everyone, my name is Joshua. I'm from the Philippines. I'm currently living in Australia. I'm doing my bachelor's degree here, and nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you.
Fantastic, guys. Well, let's get started then. I think we're almost at the 10th minute, and we can begin. So, when we talk about the subject today, guys, once again, in terms of the grammar aspect of it, is plurals and quantifiers, right? That's a very kind of fancy way of saying how do we make multiple nouns, how do we make a noun multiple in English, right? And there are exceptions to that. Usually, when we are talking about plurals in English, right, it's very easy to, all we do is we add s or es to the end of the word, right? So for the word book, we make it books. For the word car, we make it cars. But there are exceptions to the rule, right? What is one exception to the rule that you guys can think of right now?
Children?
Yeah, children, right? So the word child becomes children, so we add ren. Yeah. What else?
People.
People, yeah. So the word person